I built a $40 million company, but my family still thinks I'm a failed artist. Here's why they'll never understand what success really looks like. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss an incredible story like this one. I often think about the conversation that happened years ago when I sat down with my parents at the dinner table. It wasn't the usual kind of conversation. It wasn't about my latest project, or how well I was doing at work, or even about a potential new business opportunity. It was about something I thought I had already moved past, my choice to leave behind a dream of being an artist to pursue the business world. The table was filled with the usual suspects: my parents, my younger brother, and me. My mom had a half frown on her face, trying to read between the lines of my casual conversation. Dad, as usual, was more direct. He asked me, with a certain air of disappointment I wasn't accustomed to, "How long are you going to keep pretending you're not an artist?" I paused, unsure of how to respond. This wasn't the first time they'd said something like this, but the weight of the question hit differently this time. I had built a $40 million company, after all. I had people working for me, a real impact in my industry, and financial freedom that I had never imagined. So why was I still being treated like I had failed in the only thing I'd ever truly loved: art? I could feel my chest tightening, the familiar mixture of pride and frustration rising. The little voice in my head screamed to explain myself, to make them understand. I was not a failure, not by any means. But as I sat there, looking at their faces, I couldn't help but think they'd never understand the complexities of the life I had chosen. You see, my dream was always to be an artist. From the time I was young, I knew that I was different. While other kids were out playing sports or joining after-school clubs, I was holed up in my room with paints, sketchpads, and a wild imagination. I wasn't interested in following the conventional path that my family and society seemed to set out for me. I had a vision for myself, a vision of creating something beautiful that would last, something that would be remembered long after I was gone. I dreamed of being the next Picasso, or maybe even someone whose work would transcend generations. But life doesn't always work out the way we imagine it, does it? After high school, I went off to art school, fueled by this dream. My parents were, of course, supportive in their own way, but I could tell there was a subtle worry behind their words. "Do you think this is going to make you successful?" my father once asked. "Do you have a plan B?" The pressure was mounting from both sides, my own dreams clashing with the reality that not everyone viewed art as a viable career. Over the years, I started to see the harsh realities of the art world. It wasn't like I thought it would be. Galleries rejected me, exhibitions passed me by, and I struggled to make a name for myself. Art, it seemed, was not the quick ticket to success I had imagined. Worse, I realized that I wasn't the only one in this struggle. The competition was fierce, and I didn't have the financial support or connections to break through. Slowly, the dream started to fade. My passion for creating was still there, but the reality of surviving as an artist was a constant, unspoken weight on my shoulders. One night, after another rejection letter, I found myself staring at a blank canvas. I had spent so many years trying to make something beautiful, trying to express myself, but the more I worked at it, the more I felt like I was sinking. I thought about the future. What would I do to support myself? My art was not bringing in money. It wasn't putting food on the table or building a future. My dreams, so vivid just a few years ago, were slipping further out of reach. That's when the idea for my company came to me. It wasn't an overnight decision. It wasn't a moment of sudden inspiration. It was the result of years of frustration, practicality, and a little bit of desperation. I realized I had a knack for solving problems and seeing opportunities in places others didn't. I was still an artist at heart, but I began to think about how I could combine my creativity with something more financially sustainable. I could design, innovate, create, just not necessarily in the way I had originally envisioned. So, I took a leap of faith. I put my artistic pursuits on the back burner and dove headfirst into the world of business. I started a tech company, focusing on creating software that helped streamline operations for small businesses. At first, I wasn't sure if it was going to work. The tech world was a far cry from the art studios I had once dreamed of. But as I worked tirelessly, solving problems and developing products, I realized something incredible. My creativity, my ability to think outside the box, was an asset here too. The company grew faster than I ever expected. At first, it was just a small operation with a few employees. But as time went on, it started to scale. We developed more products, attracted more clients, and soon enough, I had investors knocking at my door. The money flowed in. I wasn't an artist in the traditional sense anymore, but I was building something beautiful in its own way. I was creating a company, a legacy, that had a real-world impact. Fast forward to today. My company is valued at $40 million. We're one of the leaders in our industry, providing cutting-edge solutions to businesses around the world. I've been recognized by Forbes, interviewed by major publications, and have even spoken at conferences. I'm proud of what I've accomplished, but the strangest thing happened as the success grew. I began to feel more disconnected from the art world than ever before. And that brings me back to the dinner table. My parents, despite all of my success, still don't fully understand. They don't get why I'm not painting anymore, why I don't talk about art in the same way I used to. They want to see me as the artist they always imagined I would be. Every time I try to explain that the company isn't just a job for me, that it's a part of who I am, they look at me with a quiet confusion. It's like they can't reconcile the person I've become with the person they wanted me to be. They still talk to me about art as if it's a lost dream, a failed pursuit, even though I've built a business worth tens of millions of dollars. In many ways, I feel like I've failed as an artist, too. My brushstrokes are no longer on canvas. My hands are too busy typing code, designing products, or strategizing growth. My days are filled with meetings, financial projections, and employee concerns, things I never imagined would take up so much of my time. But deep down, I know that creativity is still alive within me. It's just channeled in a different direction now. What I've come to realize is that the definition of success is not one size fits all. For me, it's not just about building a company or amassing wealth, although those are certainly important to me. It's about the opportunity to create, to build something meaningful, and to make an impact in the world just in a way I hadn't expected. I've learned that being an artist isn't confined to the canvas. It's about thinking differently, solving problems, and innovating. It's about creating something that didn't exist before, and bringing it to life. Still, the tug of art never fully leaves me. There are moments, late at night when the office is quiet, when I find myself sketching again. It's not the same as before. It's not about selling my work in galleries or being recognized for my craft. It's more about reconnecting with the part of me that still longs to create, still wants to bring beauty into the world. And maybe that's the real truth. I'm not a failed artist. I'm a different kind of artist now. I create in a different medium, with different tools. But I'm still an artist at heart. So, as my parents continue to press me on why I don't paint anymore, I find myself smiling quietly to myself. They may never fully understand the journey I've taken. And that's okay. Because in the end, I've built something that's mine, something I'm proud of, even if it doesn't fit the traditional mold they envisioned for me. I'm not a failed artist. I'm just an artist who's found a new canvas. And it's bigger than I ever imagined.